Hi everyone, I'm Sharon and I'm a tour guide, and today I'd like to take you on one of my favorite walks. This is a walk in the Redwood Forest. The sun is filtered through the trees and it's not too bright, but it's very comfortable even though it's a pretty hot day. Even if you don't know much about redwoods, this is an enjoyable walk. Of course, there's a lot to know about redwoods. Redwood tree is only located naturally here in California. Once upon a time, 200 million years ago, redwoods covered the earth. But there was an ice age, and eventually the redwoods were confined to a swath of land from what is now southern Oregon down to Big Sur, and that's where they remained when the first European settlers arrived around 1850. Those same settlers marveled at the height and the width of those redwood trees, but that didn't stop them from cutting them down to the point where 95% of the old growth forests are gone, and we only have 5% left today. The trees you see here were planted after the first growth was cut down, so these are very young. But the redwood tree can live as long as 2,000 or 3,000 years. A redwood is a conifer, so it has cones, just like the one you see here, but even though this is a big tree, the cone is pretty small, the size of about an olive. Inside are about 100 seeds. And yet, a much more common way for redwood to reproduce is to clone itself from a root or from a stump, from a mother tree. And that's where we get most of the growth of redwoods, especially when they're reacting to some kind of stress. The bark has a lot of tannin in it, which repels insects. So these wonderful walks tend to be insect-free. Another thing that the bark does is it's pretty fire resistant. So when you're in a situation where there's a fire, the redwood is one of the best equipped to succeed and live through the fire with minimal damage. Hey everybody, I have a real treat for you today. I want to show you the oldest and the largest redwood tree here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This tree began life as a sprout in the year 200 AD, making it 1,800 years old now. No wonder it's called Methuselah. Let's take a closer look. So let me show you Methuselah, and I'm going to pan up the trunk just a little ways. As you can see, I'm coming upon a very unusual growth outside of the trunk. It's like a tumor, but you know, they're called burls. They're benign, they don't hurt the tree. They actually contain many cells that can sprout, especially if the tree is subjected to any kind of stress, because these trees naturally want to send out new life if they think they're in trouble. Do you see how high we get all the way to the top? Methuselah has seen a lot of adversity in his lifetime. Here's evidence of fire on the trunk. That fire could have been set by Native Americans once upon a time. They often set fires to clear out underbrush. Or the fire could have been started by lightning. We don't know. We're on the other side of Methuselah now. You can see that small hole in the trunk. That's called a goose pen, and it's a cavity that's been caused by fire. Some trees have very large cavities, such that European settlers might even put cattle inside. Today, we know of at least 13 species of bats that live inside these cavities. So if you've come to love the redwoods as much as I do, I have one more thing to add. and that is how beneficial they are in helping take carbon and store it in their trunks. 2 redwood trees can take as much as 1,600 carbon tons out of the environment and store it. And that equates to the amount of carbon you and I use in our lifetime. So they have so many benefits and uses, provide a beautiful habitat, and live long and healthy lives. All of us could take a cue from that. So next time we'll do something else. In the meantime, go out and hug a redwood. Bye now.
This land is your land, and this land is my land. From the California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was